So you want to know the price of daycare. You want to know how much does daycare cost. Let me tell you. The price of daycare is murder, bullying, dropping out of school, high crime rates, heartbreak, my heart is broken, poor neglected children. Okay, these are just some of the things, some of the main things that are the high price of daycare. Okay, having a baby and then dumping them off at some daycare center is a high price to pay in society and for the specific child. Okay, when a child doesn't have someone who loves them, a loving mother to raise them, that screws with their development, and they don't naturally develop their brain to become a decent human being, which we are all wired to become. It changes them somehow, and they become either thugs, violent, or they become depressed. They have mental disorders. They have anxiety, ADD, all the list goes on. You know what I'm talking about. Goes on and on. I mean, these teens wanting to commit suicide, these teens that are bullies, all this stuff that's happening around the world, the South Carolina shootings, the school shootings, all this stuff. I guarantee you, those children that are doing the crimes, okay, they went to daycare. I guarantee you. They did not have a loving, nurturing, stay-at-home mom taking care of them, showing them the ways of the world of kindness and compassion and tolerance and love. Okay, they were dumped off at some daycare center, raised by someone who doesn't love them. Yeah, maybe they were nice to them and they didn't abuse them, so to speak, but they didn't love them like a mother loves their child. Okay? And this is including, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about moms who are on drugs and used the television as a daycare. Okay? So even if you were unemployed and stayed home with your children, but if you were on drugs or just uninvolved and dumped your kid in front of the TV all day, that counts, okay? So that's not what I'm talking about. So don't be all like, hey, I stayed home with my kid and he still turned out ghetto. Yeah, well, that's because you just dumped him off in front of the TV and you didn't spend time nurturing and loving him. So if you want to know the price of daycare, just look around the world and see all these troubled teens and these kids that have been diagnosed with all these disorders and they want to give them pills and all this stuff. Okay, it's very simple to get rid of all these problems. Just stay home with your children and love them. Okay? If you had the choice to be raised by a daycare center, a nanny, whatever it is, okay, or a mother that loves you, what would you choose? Obviously, a mother that loves you, it's a no-brainer. Anybody can tell. So I'm tired of hearing all these moms asking, oh, I have a 7-month-old and I want to know how much it would cost to put him in daycare from 7 in the morning till about 5:30 at night. Please let me have a quote, and nothing too expensive because I can't afford it. It's like, okay, you're going to dump your 7-month-old you're going to dump your 7-month-old off at a daycare from 7 in the morning to 5:30 at night, 5 days a week. It's like, when do you see your freaking kid? Why get pregnant? Why go through the trouble of having a baby if you can't even spend time with it? It's being raised by somebody else. You do realize that, right? So when your kid is all effed up and screwed in the head, don't blame anybody but yourself. It's your fault for putting him in an institution like daycare or childcare or kindercare or whatever you want to call it. Okay? I can understand if you need like a date night, a babysitter, once a month or whatever for a couple hours. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about these crazy moms. Oh, I need newborn care. Can somebody please recommend a good daycare that is good with newborns? Excuse me? Don't have kids if you need newborn care. If you had an accident and didn't want a kid, give it up for adoption if it's too late for an abortion. Because there are loving parents out there that really want the child and won't dump them off in some stranger's house or at a stupid daycare center. So please spare the children, don't torture them, don't hurt them, and stop breaking my heart. Yes, my heart is breaking for these children who don't have a choice. And stop having all of us pay the high price of daycare, which is, like I said, murders, high crime rate, bullying, depressed children with mental disorders, okay? I'm talking about these kids cutting themselves, getting depressed, eating disorders, anxiety, phobias, all this crazy stuff that's getting worse and worse. It's because daycares are getting fuller and fuller. Think about it. I'm right. Tell all your friends. Anybody that is considering daycare, anybody who runs a daycare center should be, you gotta be some kind of person to run a daycare center. Having these moms dump their kids off with you, I love kids and I would want to be with kids all day. But I could never have a daycare center because I would feel so bad for those kids. I wouldn't want to give them back to their horrible parents who didn't want them for most of their life when they were babies. It's just disgusting and sad. So, you know I'm right. So you better share this video. Tell your friends what I'm talking about here because let's get the ball rolling, people. Let's start with a nicer community and a nicer society, a nicer United States, because this isn't a problem all around the world. So I'm not going to say a better world because most of these other countries have it figured out, okay? They don't have this high rate of daycare center drop-offs, okay? Where it's like, oh, let's get up at 5 in the morning, get the kids ready for drop-off at daycare before school, blah, blah, blah. I think it's just our society. It's really ridiculous. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's get a clue, people. You know I'm right. I'm the perfect mom. So listen to me. Thank you very much. You better listen. Here's some more videos I think you'll like.